In 41 states, workers received a pay increase last year. In those same 41 states, those workers ended up with less purchasing power than they had the year before once housing costs, grocery prices, and other essentials were factored in. Pay went up. Buying power went down. In 41 states. At the same time. According to a February 2026 Newsweek analysis, the workers seeing the sharpest squeeze are in the middle of the income range, the bracket earning enough that they don't qualify for assistance, but not enough that the cost increases are absorbed without pressure. If you are earning $65,000 to $90,000 and your raise last year didn't feel like anything, this video is specifically about why. And there's a number I'm going to show you that explains exactly how much of that raise you actually kept. The two forces taking your raise before you see it, when a raise doesn't feel like a raise, it's almost always one of two things, or both at once. Force one is external. Inflation. The cost of everything you already buy increases, consuming the purchasing power your raise was supposed to provide. From May 2025 to May 2026, wages grew 3.7% on average, while inflation ran at 4.2%, according to USAFacts data updated in June 2026. Workers who got the average raise effectively lost 0.5 percentage points of purchasing power that year. On a $70,000 salary, that 0.5% gap is $350 in real purchasing power gone. Not from spending more, just from the cost of the same life increasing faster than the raise. Force 2 is internal. Lifestyle inflation. Your spending increases to meet or exceed your new income. The new salary arrives, and within 12 months the budget has expanded to absorb a nicer apartment, a newer car, more dining out. A subscription that seemed small but became permanent. Both forces are real. Both are taking from the same raise. And knowing which one is driving your specific situation determines what you can actually do about it. Where the raise actually goes, let's build the real math on a $5,000 annual raise for someone earning $65,000 in a moderate tax state. Federal income tax on the raise, at $65,000, the marginal federal rate is 22%. The $5,000 raise doesn't get taxed at your average rate, it gets taxed at the marginal rate, the rate on the next dollar earned. Federal income tax on $5,000, $1,100. State income tax, at a moderate 5% state rate, $250. Social Security and Medicare, 7.65% of the gross raise, $383. Total taxes on a $5,000 raise, approximately $1,733. You received a $5,000 raise. After taxes, $3,167 reaches your take-home, not $5,000. $3,267 a year is $272 a month. That is your actual monthly raise. Now let's see what happens to it. The cost of living absorption, rent in most mid-sized U.S. cities has been increasing at roughly 3 to 5% annually. On a $1,700-month apartment, a 3% increase is $51 a month. Groceries, up 2.4% annually, December 2024 to December 2025 per Bettles. On a $700 monthly grocery budget, that's $17 more a month. Car insurance, up roughly 5% annually. At $165 a month, that's another $8. Cost of living increases on your existing budget, approximately $76 to $120 a month, absorbed from the $272 monthly raise. What's left for lifestyle inflation? You now have $150 to $180 per month of real discretionary gain from a $5,000 raise. That's the number, $150 to $180 a month. Lifestyle inflation is what happens to that $150. Upgrade to a streaming service with live TV, $40 more a month. Eating out twice a week instead of once, $120 more a month. A gym membership that seemed worth it, $50 a month. A car upgrade when the lease ended, $200 a month more than before. Each decision felt reasonable at the time. Together they consumed $150, then pushed past it, then began eating into the previous budget. Quick check, drop it in the comments. How much was your last raise, either in dollars or percentage? And can you actually feel it in your day-to-day budget? Just the number and yes or no. I want to see the real pattern. There's a specific calculation that tells you how much of your last raise you actually kept after taxes, cost of living increases, and any spending changes. Most people have never run it. I'll show you exactly how to do it in about 3 minutes. Before I go further, I want to push back on something that most content about lifestyle inflation says, including content I generally agree with. Not all lifestyle inflation is irrational. Some of it is a genuine requirement of earning more. A promotion that comes with client dinners requires a work wardrobe update. A new role with a longer commute may require a more reliable vehicle. A job offer in a higher-cost city that pays $20,000 more may require $18,000 more in annual living costs just to exist in that city. Moving from a studio to a one-bedroom when your income supports it and your mental health requires it is not financial irresponsibility. The distinction that matters is the spending increase tied to your ability to earn more, or is it just the new normal expanding to meet the new income? The first is investment. The second is lifestyle inflation. They can look identical on a bank statement, which is why most stop spending more advice misses the point entirely. The question isn't whether you spent more, it's whether what you spent more on produced anything. Now the calculation I promised, the one that tells you how much of your last raise you actually kept. And then what to do differently on the next one. The raise retention calculation, here's how to run it. Step 1. Take your last raise amount in dollars. If you got a percentage, multiply by your previous salary to get the dollar amount. Step 2. Subtract the taxes. Use 30% as a fast estimate if you're in the $60,000 to $90,000 range and live in a moderate tax state. That's your after-tax raise. Step 3. Calculate what your fixed costs increased by over the same period. Rent renewal increase, car insurance renewal, grocery budget change, any new subscriptions added. Add them up per year. Step 4. Subtract the fixed cost increases from your after-tax raise. The number you have now is your real available raise, the amount that actually increased your financial margin. For most middle-class earners at $60,000 to $80,000, a $5,000 annual raise produces approximately $150 to $250 in real available monthly margin after taxes and cost absorption. That's the actual number the raise gave you to work with. Here is the honest limit of what I can tell you. The percentage of a raise that gets permanently absorbed by lifestyle spending over time, how long it takes, what drives it, how to predict it for a given income level. The longitudinal research on this is genuinely limited. Most of what exists is self-reported survey data, which has well-known accuracy problems when it comes to spending patterns. I've seen estimates ranging from 50% of a raise is absorbed within 6 months to most raises are fully absorbed within 24 months. But I can't verify either number to a level I'd stake a claim on. What the research does consistently show, people consistently underestimate how much their spending has increased after an income increase. The gap between perceived spending change and actual spending change is real, measurable, and systematically biased toward underestimation. Here's the number that changes how you think about the next raise. If you have a real available monthly margin of $200 from a raised $200 that genuinely didn't exist before, and you automate it to a savings or debt payoff account the day your new paycheck deposits, before your budget has time to absorb it, that's $2,400 a year. Over 10 years, $2,400 a year compounding at 5% in a high-yield savings account reaches approximately $30,000. $30,000. From the $200 a month, nobody could feel disappear. Lifestyle inflation wins because the money moves slowly and invisibly. The defense is capturing the raise the moment it arrives before the budget expands to absorb it and giving it a specific job. The exact same mechanism that lets lifestyle inflation consume a raise can work in reverse, automate the margin before it becomes available, and your spending never learns it exists. This is exactly why the raise never felt like a raise. Not because you spent irresponsibly. Not because you don't try. Because between taxes, cost of living increases that nobody announced. and a spending baseline that silently adjusts upward to match whatever arrives, a $5,000 raise becomes $150 a month of real margin before you've made a single conscious spending decision. The raise you got was real. What happened to it was predictable. And the defense is just as simple. Capture the margin before the budget sees it. Run the calculation and drop your real available raise in the comments, the number after taxes and cost increases. Not your salary increase. The number that actually changed your month. I want to see the real range people are working with. If this is your kind of channel, subscribe. See you in the next video.